Okay, time to finish up our little penguin. Oops, what's on there? So we're gonna add just simple little eyes and a little beak, which can be, see this one I've done orange. I think I gave you guys this deep yellow. You also, just from the rest of the kit, have various shades of yellow and gold that you can use, or you might have other colors if you have your own collection of wool. But I like this deep yellow gold color for the penguin the best. So that's probably what I gave you. And we'll, oh, look how those feet are going to be cuter. I think I have to really change all the rest of the feet on all my other penguins. Okay, so let's do the eyes and the beak. This is really a very simple project and hopefully one that you enjoy. It's nice to have some things that are a little quicker and easier, and then it's also nice to have some things that are more time consuming and more challenging. So hopefully you'll also enjoy the owl, which is a lot more complicated. All right, so you can make really big eyes on this or really little eyes. Just get your wool. I recommend, getting your wool and rolling it in your fingers just to get an idea of what size you're talking about. And then, as I always do, I like to mark where the eyes will go before I do them. So it really helps. And actually, yeah, you could do the beak first if you wanted to. I think we'll do the eyes first on this one and then the beak. So I like to mark where they're going. You don't have to make like a full eye socket. It's just a matter of planning out and making sure it's gonna look like you got them where you want them. And then I'm gonna put that little piece of wool in there and I'm gonna poke underneath it in a nice little circle. And that'll get it attached nicely and hopefully give it a nice crisp round shape without flattening it too much. That's what I'm trying to do, is go underneath so that now we don't want it totally bulgy like that. So then I'm gonna go all around it, but on an angle, not just totally flat in. I'm gonna go different angles so it stays in this convex position. Convex shape, I should say. Anyway, and if you wind up flattening this too much or they're too small, you can always add more wool. If they're too big, just the more you poke in on an angle toward the eye, the more it will shrink it down. So you can always make your eyes bigger or smaller. And then I think that looks cute. So I'm gonna do the other one. And it's always a challenge to get them the same. They don't have to be exactly the same, but it is something you can do. You might go back and forth a few times between your eyes, balancing them out, but it's worth it. So again, I'm going around the edge and kind of underneath on an angle, and then see how you can sort of see how much bulgier that one is than the other one. So I'm going to then go around, getting the whole thing in there, but not totally flattening it either. So you could see the curve on those eyes still. And I do think they look better when they look three-dimensional. Okay, so that's pretty much it. You want to make sure, you probably should do these a while longer because, as I've said before, when you go to put this white of the eye in there, this guy got a little fuzzy from being in a bag full of felties. When you go to put that white in the eye, if this is too mushy, it's just not gonna work. It either will disappear into the center or it's just not gonna go in the way you want it to. So make sure these are firm enough that you're ready to do the white highlight. Excuse me. I'm gonna take tiny little bits of the bright white. So for all these birds, because you have the bright white for the penguin, you can use the bright white for the whites in the eyes. The core wool works too, but I think especially on this one, because you have the bright white, the core wool might look a little dingy on this one, whereas on other ones you wouldn't notice. So I'm just gonna make a little highlight in there, which gives it a little life. Makes a big difference. That little tiny speck makes a big difference to how cute these things are. Oops, I don't know what. It's very easy to lose track of these tiny little bits of white wool. So let me roll that in your fingers too before they poof away on you. Okay. And this, the same thing, if this one winds up being bigger than the other side, you can still, I can shrink this one down or add a little more. I feel like I like, this one did come out a little bigger. I like it better, so I'm gonna add a little more. My chair's gotten squeakier too. I'm gonna add a little more to this side. Even though that looks like a lot, I can get it, if I poke it all into the same spot, I can get it pretty small. Okay, so now I have my little black eyes with the white highlights. And I'm gonna make a beak. So this beak, it's a little smaller and a little different shape from the chick. It's probably a little more like the owl one we're gonna do, and you can just decide how big you want it. You can look at penguin beaks and make a little more complicated penguin beak. There are like puffins that have, you know, really distinct beaks, but I'm just gonna poke, I'm just poking this puff of wool right in the center, a little lower, like kind of right at the lower part of the eyes is where I'm gonna start this. And I'm gonna poke underneath it in this little bit of a teardrop shape. That's basically what I wanna make right here. That's what these are. It's basically a little teardrop shape, which you might have, if you've done other things with me, you've probably made eyes in that shape for other animals. And this will just be, it's that same shape, but much poofier. You wouldn't want an eye this bulgy, but you do want the beak to stick out more. So I'm gonna be felting this down and getting the shape, and then I would expect that I'm gonna add another coat on here. So I'm really just trying to get the base in there, get the shape, and then I can make it. And like I said, feel free to look at pictures of penguins and do something different shape or something more specific. This is just a cute little, very simplified version of a penguin. And a little more, maybe make this beak a little bigger than the one on this guy. We're probably already about that size, but I'm gonna make this one a little bigger. Just to show you, you can go make yours different. And so once I got that first layer in, I'm just gonna be kind of building up. I'm not gonna make this, not making it bigger in terms of the circumference of it, the outline of it. I'm making it bigger in terms of how far out it comes out, like this way from the face. And I see, I said not to use your needle, but I do see a little black strand of wool that I pulled out. Okay. And this just needs to be firmed up a little bit more. Especially with beaks, there would be a harder material than the feathery part, so I kind of want it to look and feel more solid. And there are other ways. People do make things like beaks and feet out of other materials like polymer clay, and I said I sometimes make them out of wire. There's ways of like waxing or putting materials on top of the wool to make it stiffer. So, but I like the look of stuff when it's all wool. People make their glass eyes and stuff too. All right, that might look a little too much like an owl beak actually, but that's cute. All right, so there's my little penguin face. And then, so for the feet, I really can just attach them in the middle, and I can use this yellow. Is this the yellow from that? May not be. Different color? I meant for this to be the same color. Anyway, doesn't matter all that much. So I'm gonna, maybe I should use the white then, because it'll be at an area that's between the feet. So what I'm going to want to do is get this attached, and I'm going to start by adding white between the feet, and I'm just going to make sure they're facing forward. Just look at it upside down. I'm going to look at it like that, and I don't want to see. I can feel the wire in there. And I'm going to poke this wool really close to the wire, but not into the wire. So I'm feeling that the wire's right there. And I'm gonna go on either side of it. And then I'm gonna get all this white wool poked in. And then we'll do a little bit of yellow too to make sure it's really well secured in there. I wouldn't want this, just this little, that's like not even 1/4 of an inch. I wouldn't think that's enough to secure this. So we're also gonna take little bits here. I'm gonna take little bits of the yellow and put them, see, I said sometimes we use, when it's too well felted things, we could use a little fresh wool as a glue. So I'm gonna put this right here, tuck that in between the body and the foot. And then I'm going to felt, again, I'm gonna remember that where the wires are, they're on these ends and down the middle, and I'm gonna go in these spots in between. Very carefully poke, get that in there. And then from this angle, I can go this way. It's just to make sure. So I'm gonna, again, do this foot. Go, whoops, see, I just hit the wire. You have to do this very gently, especially at first, because you're not really sure where the wires are. And, whoop. You could even do this edge, go this way. So, because I can know I can go under the wire that way. So I can do that again over here and here. And then here I'm going to do this. There's going to be some loose wool over there, so I'm going to poke under there. And then I kind of want to, I like to get things really, really securely attached, so I'll probably do this for a while longer, just being really careful about the wires and just poking much more gently so that if you do hit a wire, you don't break your needle. If you hit this at the same force that you normally would, you're probably gonna break a needle. All right, so I'm also, just to help this get attached on there, I'm gonna put a little more white wool this way and tuck that in. And it's gonna kind of felt to the back of the feet. Okay. And I think those are pretty well attached and looking pretty cute. So there's our little penguin. And like I said, I really like these feet better, so I'm going to be replacing all the feet on all my penguins. Here's the one I started. I got to finish this set of feet. And how cute is that? Really cute and relatively easy for a needle felting project. So have fun with that. And then we're moving on to our owl. So get ready for a lot more color and more challenge. Okay.